Hello everybody, it's the Gruppeteer, and I'm back again with the Steven Universe vlog, and today's episode is That Will Be All. And in this episode, following the events of last episode, Steven and Greg, who are now being held by this amethyst guard, are brought into this, locker room of all these amethysts, and they meet their amethyst. And this is gonna be really confusing with all these amethyst names, but I'll try to simplify it. So, Amethyst is just putting up this act that all the guard amethysts are these mean-spirited, creatures, but it turns out that they're all super-duper nice, and they all just got to know each other a lot because they were all from Earth together. They all know each other. Hey, you from Brooklyn? Hey, Johnny is from Brooklyn! Oh jeez, man, that was a Night at the Museum 2 reference. Yikes. Anyway, wow. Alright, anyway, obscure references aside that just came to my mind for no reason, Amethyst, shows, Steven and Greg around. She even lets them meet some of these, Jaspers that never fully developed. These Jaspers that are just like these lanky, goofy little, creatures sort of looking things. And they all just seem like really, really nice people that I sort of wish they spent more time with, because they really do. They seemed like such a nice bunch. And especially that, skinny Jasper or whatever, they should have spent more time with her. She just seemed like a really, fun guy or whatever. But they don't, because we learned her name. I think it's Agate, but I'm going to call her Zagat, because I'm a dummy. So, Zagat comes in, and if you've seen the last vlogs, then you're probably wondering who that is. That is the blue meanie with the furry horns I kept talking about. Zagat comes in, and she's all grumpy because, since Blue Diamond is coming, what are all these people doing messing around here? So, they leave, and Steven and Greg pretty much trail them. And while they're trying to trail them, they stumble into this room that is full of bubbled, what we can assume are rose quartzes, because of, Steven sort of makes it pretty obvious. He, lifts up his shirt and, he points to the things, and they have the same, cut, if you will. And we see Blue Diamond is in there. Blue Diamond is in the room, and she's still mourning the loss of Pink Diamond, which we can assume was thousands and thousands of years ago, because of Yellow Diamond, who comes in moments later and says, hey, you gotta get over it. But she doesn't say it like that. She says it in a song. Now, here's the thing, alright? Whenever I make a vlog, because I literally turn the episode off and turn on the camera. This is all the unfiltered thoughts, as dumb as they all are. But whenever there's always an episode there's a song in it, I guess, is how I want to word that. I always don't like the song the first time around. And there's sometimes I do. The Sworn to the Sword song I loved the first time. The Answer song I loved the first time. Stronger Than You I think was great. And I didn't like, the one in Coach Steven that much when I first heard it, Strong in the Real Way. And now I listen to it and it's one of my favorites of the show. So I really don't know what to do when I judge a song in the episode. Listening to it my first time, I didn't really like it that much. I thought that Yellow Diamond's sort of spurts of, not spurts if you will, her sort of higher and lower notes, the way she changed, tempo, she changed the frequency of her voice, was a little random, sort of seemed out of place, and I really do understand what Rebecca was going for when she wrote this. It's definitely a Disney, sort of like a Disney villain sort of song. It's set up, and it's sort of got that lyrical style and structure, and even the way that they interact with the characters visually is very reminiscent of, the old Disney villain songs. And I really do like that. I respect that, and I think that's really, really cool that they'd harken back to something like that. I just think it's like a cute little animation thing. And I love those. And, I think the song is alright. It's alright. I don't hate it by any means. I just think it's an alright song. I think it's fine. I'll definitely probably listen to it again to see if my opinions change, but besides that, I can't see myself listening to it too many more times. Yellow Diamond's a fine singer. Whoever is her actress is a great, great voice. I mean, a lot better than mine. At least she's not monotoned all the time. I'm not monotoned, am I? Don't worry about it, me. But the thing really is it just didn't latch on to me, and that's not a bad thing. Doesn't mean it's a bad song. It didn't latch onto it. So put that aside, get your head out of the way now. I thought it was an okay song. Oh no, the Gruppeteer has different musical taste than I do. Oh So after they hear that song, they pretty much just move on. Sort of, it's kind of just random. They sort of just move on, and Sapphire and Ruby pretty much start boarding the spaceship with Pearl as Zagat has taken them back to the spaceship, and they try to, through the comedic stylings, they try to hide Amethyst and Greg, or they try to hide Greg and Steven with Amethyst during the entire voyage back to the ship, while Zagat's, bragging away about how she saw both diamonds at once! Ah! And, that was the thing. Anyway, they get to the ship, and Zagat, she sees Greg, she sees Steven. She don't like that, so she takes out her electrical whip? It's not like Amethyst's whip. It doesn't have, little shards on it. It's got, electricity or something. So it's like an electricity whip, I guess. I don't know. I can't think of an electric whip reference off the top of my head. But I probably should be able to. I don't know. John Carter? Anybody see John Carter? No? Whatever. And, so they get onto the ship, and Ruby and Sapphire turn back into Garnet. They pretty much beat Zagat up, although they don't beat Zagat up. It's a little, And they get on the ship, and they go away. And you'd think that Zagat would run along and just go tell the diamonds right away, but Pearl, pretty much goes #savage, as the kids like to call it. I'm 16. Am I already at the age where I'm like, oh, I hate what the kids do? What am I, a YouTuber? Anyway, so Pearl pretty much says that there's no way that Zagat's gonna, go tell the diamonds, because really, if Zagat's trying to be so cool in front of the diamonds, if she goes up and says that 2 humans escaped from her zoo, along with a Ruby, and a Sapphire, and a Pearl, I mean, brah, you ain't getting much. So, yeah, pretty much, they're all safe. It seems like literally any loose end you could have with this episode was tied up at the end. Overall, did I think it was a good finale? Well, I'll get to that in a minute, because there is something that I want to address when I talk about that. But I do think that the rest of the episode is very, very nice. Very well put together. I do wish that they did spend a little more time with the Amethysts. Maybe we will see them more one day. Maybe we won't. I don't know, man. I don't write this show. I'd like to. But the overall other part, I mean, I think Zagat's a fine character. I get what they're going for with the full of herself character and, trying to show off for Sapphire and thus more the diamonds. And I think it's fine. I mean, I don't even think Steven and Greg really speak at all in this episode. They have 3 or 4 lines. The rest of it is mostly just song. A good chunk of it is taken up by the song and the 2 diamonds interacting. It's like a 2-minute song at least. It's got to be at least 2.5 minutes. A normal song. And so what I really want to address, with it being a finale episode and how I said it really, really loosely ties up any possible bond, is that while you can sort of set up a story in this way, you could have a story where Zagat goes back, tells the diamonds, hey, they're coming to Earth, and Zagat's the diamonds are like, well, let's go to Earth and get them back, or something like that, to set up a story. What I really find, and me, I know a lot of people who make 11-minute shows, who make half-hour animated specials, all the people on my show, that's pretty much what they do for a job. And I've never really asked any of them how hard it is to tie up a storyline, I guess, because a lot of the people I've talked to don't have shows with continuing storylines for the most part. And it's never really a question that's, crossed my mind. I bet I could talk to one of them right now if I wanted to. Call Bruce up on the old phone, talk to Carl for a while. But I digress. So what I really would like to know is that from a viewer's point of view, I would say this is not a really cool finale. It's sort of lame. The fight between the Zagat and the gems at the end literally is just Amethyst wraps her up, and Garnet literally just cha-ching, does that. It even makes a squeaking sound, like a dog toy squeaking sound when he punches her. So it's not even hard. And yeah, you see a little bit of sassiness from Pearl, but besides that, there's really nothing. There's really no grand finale. They don't have to escape from an exploding planet, or they don't have some big fight with all the amethysts or whatever. They just sort of tie her up. They're like, hey Zagat, no one's gonna believe you. And she's like, all right, and they just sort of leave, and everybody's happy in the end. Now, from a viewer's point of view, I would say that this is a poor finale because, yeah, sure, it ties up the loose ends, but it's sort of rushed. It's just sort of boring. It's not... Okay, I wouldn't say it's a bad finale. I'd say it's a sort of a letdown of a finale. What I would say is that it's a little flat. It is. It's a little flat, and I love Rebecca. I love the show. But, yeah, I thought this part was just a wee bit flat. But on the level of that I am with talking to, the people who make these shows so much, has given me a newfound, and I would hope it gave you guys a newfound respect too, watching the episodes I make for you. But talking to them gives me a newfound respect for, how hard the craft is, and especially that. So I can understand now, if I watched this episode without having my show, then I definitely wouldn't understand why they would rush this so much. But I can understand from you gotta make, a 69 episode show, and that's just your starting off standpoint, that, not a 69 show, 69 episodes, that it might be a little hard to make a storyline that drags on for so long, or even to get the money, because animation's pretty expensive, and especially these big fight sequences. You don't pull those out of the book. Not every show is Samurai Jack, remember that. And so yeah, on the level that I am of sort of understanding animation and how it's made, and I hate to sound pretentious, but just a little bit more than the average viewer might be able to, and I would hope you guys would be able to too, then I can understand that this finale had technical reason, maybe monetary and business reason, for being as short and sort of sweet as it was, but that's not what this show is made for. It's not made for people who understand the system of making cartoons. It's made for people who are just casual viewers. And on that case, I would say that the finale doesn't exactly reach the goal, doesn't exactly reach the epicness, and it doesn't exactly reach the satisfaction that a lot of people would expect, especially from such a major storyline. It's the same thing I really had with the business storyline, is if you think about it, what did we learn? Well, one episode, Steven's got a new gem, and the next, she's dead. I mean, yeah, Rose was a killer. That's pretty much all we learn. From this, what do we learn? Well, we see Blue Diamond and Yellow Diamond talking, and we learn that Korea is a thing in the Steven universe, if you will. But besides that, maybe outside of some pieces of gem technology and a few different sort of usages of gems we've already met, you don't really take anything too much into the storyline. And maybe I am being a little bit too harsh on this because I do judge this show a little bit higher than I do judge a normal cartoon because it literally is my job. But I found it a little bit of a letdown on the viewer's part. From a technical level, I think it's alright. But a viewer, I wouldn't think they'd have the same connection. Did you have the same connection? I'd actually be very interested, is how I should phrase that, to know. Please let me know in the comments. I will see you guys later, and goodbye.